We've got Mahantesh Sabarad, Senior Vice President, Equity Research at Fortune Equity Brokers, who's joining in right now. Mahantesh, thanks very much for your time. Is the exuberance on the Jet stock justified?
Yeah, in a way the deal is good for Jet because what we have also additionally learned from yesterday afternoon talk is that there is another $150 million that is going to come into Jet from Etihad for a majority stake in Jet privilege. So all in all, Jet through Etihad will get close to $600 million and against a debt of almost $2 billion. That's a substantial cash infusion that elevates their debt problem. So I think that's extremely good news when it comes to the balance sheet repair for Jet, and the exuberance is right. We are like I told you yesterday, we are looking at something like a price between 610 to 640 for the stock.
Okay, I think the stock's almost there, right? 640 odd right now as we speak. What's your sense about whether Etihad would want to raise their stake, and this is the first leg of the transaction? Would that make sense, or they can sit very comfortably, happily at 24%?
No, I don't think they will raise their stake because if Jet has to remain a public listed company, they need to have 25% public float. The balance 75% has to be equally divided between not necessarily equally, but has to be shared by Etihad and the current promoters, which is Nourish Goel and Tailwinds. And I think the current promoters will continue to hold a majority stake in that, possibly close to 50, which is 61%. So that leaves hardly anything for Jet, for Etihad to raise their stake, unless they plan to delist the company.
And you don't think that happening at this stage?
No, clearly ruled out.
Okay, got that. What is your sense about the long term for Jet from here? So this deal has happened, money will come, near term, cash flow issues are resolved. But what is your view as a business? Because people are raising concerns that this in a way limits what Jet can do internationally. Obviously, Etihad will not allow Jet to cannibalize its international routes. Jet may be turned into a feeder service for Etihad's international operations, and those kind of things are being said.
Yeah, precisely.
What does it mean for Jet long term? Yes.
Precisely. I think you borrowed the exact words that I was intending to say. Jet becomes, instead of a network carrier, becomes a feeder carrier. So in the short term, they have repaired their balance sheet. In the long term, they will have to curtail their international operations and become a feeder carrier to Etihad. When it comes to the domestic market, there is too much of competition. Already Jet has lost its market leadership to Indigo. They don't have great equipment ordering plan for the domestic markets, unlike Indigo or even Go Air. So they will have a limited room available to grow in the domestic market, which will become even more fiercely competitive. And given Etihad's compulsions, they'll have to start feeder services from further, newer cities or interior or regional cities of India onto Etihad. So that's going to make the growth, both top line as well as profitability growth, constrained ahead in the years ahead. So I think one has to be very careful about what happens to Jet in the long term. So we would be very cautious. So that's why we don't want to say that, look, Etihad has purchased the stock at 754 or 755 rupees per share. So the other shareholders should also see the same price target for themselves. On the contrary, we are saying no. There is a premium that Etihad paid to Jet to get precisely this feeder service for their hub, and they have partly succeeded in getting a better deal through the Indian government in terms of more rights to fly to between India and Abu Dhabi. So there you have it. I think Jet will become a feeder carrier, will become a secondary airline, possibly will soon be relegated to the third spot in the Indian domestic airspace another 3 years down the line, and I'm not too sure what happens next then.
How does it impact, does it impact SpiceJet the other listed airline in any way? This particular deal and the terms of the deal and the bilateral agreement, etc.?
See, clearly the deal has been driven by the bilateral agreement. Had that not happened, I don't think Jet and Etihad would have exchanged equity stake. That wouldn't have been possible. So when it comes to SpiceJet, there is no such bilateral arrangement available for them to drive another deal with, let's say, another somebody else. Valuation benchmark provided by Etihad to and in this transaction between Etihad and Jet is not what can be hoped for by the other set of airlines, including SpiceJet. So I don't want to say that the valuation benchmark is in any way going to benefit SpiceJet. Yes, they will attract investments into India, because after the liberalization of FDI policy in September, where we saw even retail FDI, public broadcast FDI, and power traded exchanges FDI liberalized, this is the first major deal that has been struck and the first FDI money as a result of those norms. So the government will have a chance to thump their chest and say, look, we have liberalized the policy and that has yielded results, and maybe soon some other airline will, like SpiceJet or even Go Air, may get some equity stake because the confidence grows in the Indian skies.
Got that. Thanks very much, Mahantesh, for your time. Great to have you with us here.